The email hit my inbox like a brick through a window. Congratulations, your property has been selected for the new Willow Creek Community Pool. I stared at the screen, coffee going cold, my brain struggling to process. I didn't even belong to the Willow Creek HOA. My name's Marcus Tate, a 42-year-old mechanic who bought a fixer-upper on the edge of Willow Creek, a sleepy suburban neighborhood in Ohio. I'd chosen this lot for its quiet, its half-acre of wildflowers, and the fact that it sat just outside the HOA's iron grip. I'm a live and let live guy, keep my lawn mowed, wave at neighbors, mind my own business. But that email, signed by Karen Wentworth, HOA president, wasn't a request, it was a declaration. They were building a pool on my land. I reread the message, my pulse ticking up. The audacity was unreal. Karen, with her perfectly coiffed blonde hair and SUV plastered with Willow Creek Pride stickers, had been a thorn in my side since I moved in. She'd knocked on my door once, clipboard in hand, demanding I join the HOA and contribute to community standards. I'd politely declined, citing the deed that kept my lot independent. She'd smiled that tight, condescending smile and said, "We'll see about that, Marcus." Now, here we were. I grabbed my phone and dialed the number listed in the email. Voicemail. Of course. By noon, I was at the HOA office, a converted garage in the heart of the neighborhood. Karen sat behind a desk cluttered with flyers about community enhancement. She didn't look up as I walked in. "Marcus, I'm busy." "What's this about your email?" I said, keeping my voice steady. "You're not building a pool on my property. I'm not in your HOA." She finally met my eyes, her smile dripping with fake sweetness. "Oh, Marcus, it's already decided. The community voted. Your lot is the perfect spot, central, spacious, and frankly, underutilized. We're doing you a favor by improving it." "Improving it," I laughed, incredulous. "You're trespassing." "I'll sue." Her eyes narrowed. "The HOA has eminent domain rights for community projects. Read your deed again. We've already got permits, and the bulldozers arrive tomorrow. Be a team player. Marcus." She waved me off like I was a pesky fly. I left, fury simmering. Eminent domain. For a pool, I called my lawyer, Sarah, who confirmed what I suspected. Karen was full of it. My deed was ironclad. My lot wasn't under HOA jurisdiction. But permits bulldozers. This wasn't a bluff. I drove home, my mind racing. That night, I barely slept, picturing my wildflower garden planted in memory of my late wife, Lila, reduced to rubble. The next morning, I woke to the roar of machinery. I bolted outside to find a bulldozer tearing into my backyard, its blade ripping through Lila's roses. A crew of workers in orange vests swarmed the lot, and there was Karen, in a neon green HOA jacket, directing them like a dictator. A wooden sign already stood at the edge of my property, proclaiming, "Future site of Willow Creek Community Pool," in garish letters. "Stop!" I shouted, storming toward her. "This is my land." Karen turned, unfazed. "Marcus, don't make a scene. This is for the greater good. Think of the kids." The kids, I gestured at the destruction. "You're destroying my home. I'm calling the cops." She smirked. "Go ahead. We have permits." The police arrived an hour later, but the officer, a young guy who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else, just shrugged. "Ma'am's got paperwork," he said, glancing at Karen's stack of documents. "Take it up with the city." I was livid, but I wasn't stupid. I called Sarah again, who promised to file an emergency injunction. Meanwhile, the bulldozers kept moving. By day 2, half my backyard was a crater, the wildflowers gone. The soil churned into mud. Neighbors started gathering, some curious, others outraged. A few, like old Mr. Jenkins muttered about Karen's reign of terror. Others, HOA loyalists, cheered the pool idea, blind to the fact that it was my property. That's when the twist came. On day 3, as I stood watching the chaos, a beat-up pickup truck pulled up. Out stepped a woman in her 60s, gray hair tied back, carrying a leather satchel. She introduced herself as Evelyn, a retired surveyor who'd worked for the county decades ago. "Heard about your trouble," she said, her voice gravelly but kind. "I mapped this neighborhood in '89. Your lot, it's not just outside the HOA, it's got a protected easement. They can't touch it without state approval." My jaw dropped. "How do you know this?" She grinned. "Karen tried to pull a fast one on my sister's property years ago. I don't forget a bully." Evelyn's revelation was a lifeline. She showed me documents proving my lot included a conservation easement for a rare native plant species, Lila's wildflowers. Ironically, any construction required state environmental review, which Karen hadn't done. Armed with this, Sarah filed a cease and desist order, and by day 4, the bulldozers stopped. But the damage was done. My yard was a wreck, and Karen wasn't backing down. The conflict exploded at the next HOA meeting, held in the community center. I showed up with Evelyn and Sarah, ready to fight. Karen stood at the podium, rallying her supporters. "This pool will unite us," she declared. "Marcus is standing in the way of progress." I stepped forward, holding up Evelyn's documents. "This isn't about progress. It's about theft. My lot isn't yours to take. Karen, you didn't even check the easement laws." The room erupted. HOA members shouted at each other, some defending Karen, others turning on her. Then came the bombshell. Evelyn revealed that Karen had falsified the permits, forging a city official's signature. Gasps filled the room. Karen's face went pale, her smugness crumbling. "You're lying," she snapped, but her voice wavered. Sarah held up the forged documents, verified by the county. "This is fraud, Karen, and you've destroyed protected land. The state's already investigating." The meeting turned into chaos. Neighbors who'd once kissed up to Karen now demanded answers. "Mr." Jenkins stood up, shaking his cane. "You told us this was legal. You ruined that man's yard." Others joined in, their voices a chorus of betrayal. The climax hit the next day. State officials arrived, along with environmental inspectors. The pool site was a disaster: cracked concrete, leaking water, and endangered plants obliterated. Karen tried to spin it, claiming it was a misunderstanding, but the evidence was damning. The state slapped the HOA with a $50,000 to $1,000 fine for environmental violations, and Karen was personally liable for the forgery. My yard ruined. The wildflowers I'd planted with Lila were gone, replaced by mud and debris. I stood in the wreckage, heart heavy but resolute. Sarah filed a lawsuit against Karen and the HOA for damages, and word spread fast. Social media lit up with our shy Karen pool disaster, neighbors posting photos of the destruction. Karen's name became a punchline, her HOA presidency crumbling as members called for her resignation. In the end, Karen faced more than just fines. The state pressed charges for fraud, and she was forced to sell her house to cover legal costs. The HOA dissolved the pool project, and I won a settlement to restore my land, though no money could bring back Lila's flowers. Evelyn, my unexpected ally, helped me replant, teaching me about native species to honor the easement. The neighborhood slowly healed, but Karen's legacy was a cautionary tale. Karma's a funny thing, isn't it? Karen thought she could bulldoze her way to glory, but she dug her own grave. Now, every time I see a Willow Creek Pride sticker, I shake my head and think, not on my watch. What do you think ever dealt with a Karen who got what was coming? Share your stories below. Let's talk about standing up to bullies.